Chapter 4: A Tale of Simplicity and Discovery. The soft light of dawn filtered through the small, wooden-framed windows of Serendipity, casting a warm glow across the honey-colored wood paneling inside the narrowboat. Emma, with her shoulder-length chestnut hair tied loosely in a bun, stirred under the cozy linens of her bed. The cool air of the early morning was brisk against her skin, but the pink blush on her cheeks was a welcome reminder of the life she had chosen, a life that embraced nature and simplicity. As Emma sat up, she noticed a few strands of hair had escaped her bun, resting gently against her freckled cheeks. She tucked them behind her ear, smiling softly at the familiar routine. She pulled on her well-worn jeans, layered a deep green jumper over her cotton shirt, and wrapped her favorite burgundy scarf around her neck. Today was another day of discovery along the Grand Union Canal, and she was ready to embrace it. Emma stepped out onto the deck of Serendipity, the narrowboat gently rocking beneath her feet. The canal was serene, a perfect reflection of the sky above, with only the occasional ripple from a passing duck. She cradled a mug of steaming tea in her hands, letting the warmth seep into her fingers as she gazed out at the mist rising from the water. The world was quiet, save for the rustling of leaves and the distant call of a moorhen. This was her time to think, to feel connected to the nature that surrounded her. As the sun rose higher, Emma set about her daily chores. The life she had chosen required hard work, but it was work she had come to appreciate. She started by checking the engine of Serendipity, a routine that had become second nature. The hum of the boat's motor was reassuring, a sound that signaled their journey was ready to continue. Next, she filled the boat's water tank at one of the sporadic water points along the canal, carefully winding the hose from the nearest tap. These water taps were conveniently located at various points along the canal, sometimes integrated into sanitary stations where she could also empty the boat's toilet and dispose of refuse. The task was accompanied by the distant murmur of the canal, a sound that had become part of her daily life. Inside, Emma tidied up the galley, wiping down the stone-topped counters and organizing the shelves. The scent of freshly brewed tea mingled with the earthy smell of the wooden interior, creating a comforting atmosphere that made Serendipity feel like home. She folded away the small dining table, making space for her next project, a watercolor painting of the landscape she had passed the day before. Art had become a quiet passion for Emma, a way to capture the beauty of the canal and the peace it brought her. As the morning light brightened the cabin, Emma moved to the front of the boat, where the small garden she had cultivated flourished in pots along the deck. Herbs like rosemary and thyme released their fragrance into the air as she watered them, their vibrant green leaves a sharp contrast to the deep green of the boat's hull. The hand-painted floral designs on Serendipity's exterior seemed to come alive in the sunlight, reminding Emma of the balance she sought between practicality and beauty. With the chores done, Emma untied Serendipity from its mooring and guided the narrowboat away from the bank. The boat moved smoothly through the still waters of the canal, the world around her coming to life as she steered towards Braunston. The Grand Union Canal was a lifeline, connecting her to the broader world while allowing her to maintain the solitude she cherished. Recognized mooring points were located near popular places, each with varying stay time limits, offering Emma the flexibility to stop and explore new areas or simply enjoy the tranquility of the canal for a few days. As she navigated through the canal's winding path, Emma encountered fellow boaters and walkers along the towpath. Her warm hazel eyes, flecked with gold, met theirs with a smile and a nod, brief but friendly exchanges that were a part of the canal community she had grown to love. There was a shared understanding among them, each person drawn to this way of life for their reasons, finding solace in the simplicity and the slow rhythm of the water. Midday came, and Emma found a quiet spot to moor Serendipity for lunch. She prepared a simple meal in the galley, a hearty soup with fresh bread, the kind of food that warmed her from the inside out. She ate on the deck, enjoying the sun's gentle warmth on her face and the peaceful view of the canal. Afterwards, she took a moment to write in her journal, capturing her thoughts about the journey so far and the small moments of joy she had found along the way. As the afternoon wore on, Emma continued along the canal, passing through locks that required her to step onto the bank and operate the heavy gates. It was physical work, the kind that left her muscles pleasantly sore, a reminder of her natural strength that would develop over the coming months of narrowboat life. She moved with a quiet determination, the calmness of the canal life reflected in her steady, deliberate movements. Soon, she approached Blisworth Tunnel, her first tunnel on this journey. The Blisworth Tunnel is one of the longest navigable tunnels in Britain, stretching over 3,000 yards through the Northamptonshire countryside. As she neared the entrance, the dark mouth of the tunnel loomed ahead, an intimidating contrast to the open skies she had become accustomed to. With a deep breath, Emma guided Serendipity into the tunnel. The temperature dropped noticeably as the boat entered the darkness, the echo of water dripping from the brickwork creating an eerie soundtrack. Emma turned on the headlamp, its beam cutting through the blackness and illuminating the narrow, curved walls of the tunnel. The tunnel seemed to close in around her, the light from the entrance quickly fading away until there was nothing but the dim glow from the boat's lamp to guide her. The journey through Blisworth Tunnel was slow and deliberate. The cool, damp air clung to her skin, and the boat's engine reverberated off the tunnel walls, amplifying every sound. Emma's hands gripped the tiller tightly, her focus sharp as she steered Serendipity through the darkness, careful to avoid the jagged edges of the tunnel walls. Despite the confined space, there was something oddly peaceful about the experience, a solitude that was both unsettling and comforting. After what felt like an eternity, a faint light appeared in the distance. Emma's heart lifted as the tunnel's exit grew closer, the promise of open air and sunlight just ahead. When Serendipity finally emerged from the tunnel, the warmth of the sun and the expanse of the sky above felt like a welcome embrace. Emma breathed a sigh of relief, a smile spreading across her face. She had conquered her first tunnel, another milestone in her journey of self-discovery. The sun dipped low in the sky as Emma finally approached Braunston, the golden light casting long shadows on the water. She moored Serendipity for the night, the village's iconic church spire visible in the distance. The day had been full, yet peaceful, another step in the journey of self-discovery that had led her here. That evening, after a simple supper, Emma sat on the small built-in sofa in the cabin, a soft lamp casting a warm glow over the pages of All Boats Are Sinking by Hannah Pierce. The memoir had quickly become one of her favorites, recounting the author's chaotic yet uplifting journey living on a narrowboat after a breakup. Emma couldn't help but smile at the humorous anecdotes of malfunctioning toilets and disappearing hulls, knowing all too well the trials of life on the water. What resonated most with Emma, however, was the deeper message of the book, that life, much like a boat, wasn't always about smooth sailing. Pierce's words echoed Emma's own struggles in leaving behind her past life. The author's ability to find balance, laughter, and even love amidst the chaos of her circumstances reminded Emma that her own journey on the canal wasn't just about escaping, but about rebuilding. As Emma read on, she found comfort in the parallels between their stories, a reminder that even when things seemed to be sinking, there was always a way to stay afloat. As she read, Emma's thoughts wandered. The slow, deliberate pace of her days had become a rhythm she was learning to love. Each day brought new challenges and rewards, a balance between work and peace that she had sought for so long. The life she had left behind in the city seemed like a distant memory, a different world that no longer held the same appeal. Before turning in for the night, Emma stepped out onto the deck one last time. The stars reflected on the still surface of the canal, creating a mirror image of the late summer night sky. She breathed in the cool, crisp air, feeling the deep contentment that came from knowing she was exactly where she needed to be. This was her journey, and as she drifted to sleep, the gentle rocking of Serendipity lulled her into dreams of the adventures still to come. Emma was home on the water, in the quiet moments, in the life she had built with her own hands. And as the canal carried her forward, she knew she was discovering not just new places but new parts of herself.